Hello, everyone. This is Thomas Pepin, NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin, and let's talk about the NHL. So, doing the usual recap of a certain time frame. So, this is going to be covering news and events that took place during the third round of the Stanley Cup Final, including going over what happened in the third round, generally, I guess. Yeah, always unscripted on the spot, so only know the topics and we'll see what we think about them. So just give me one sec to switch this over. Cool. All right, so first thing on the menu is to recap the third round, so the conference final. Again, there's no point in me going over what happened each game or scores or anything like that. Like, I mean, if you follow it closely, or even if you don't, you would have you would have either seen the games or the highlights, and then otherwise you can go back and watch the game. Well, watch the highlights. Um, there's nothing really that I could say more than if you saw all that stuff, and um, so it's more just talking about the results, my predictions versus the results, and yeah. So, anyways, so in the third round, so the conference finals. So we had New York against Florida, and then Western Conference we had Dallas against Edmonton. So, yeah, I did. Yeah, obviously I gave my predictions. I can't remember actually for sure what they were, but I'm pretty certain I know. So Rangers versus Panthers. The series went to 6 games. Florida won 4-2. Looks like mostly, yeah, almost completely pretty even scores. So 3-0 Panthers, Rangers 2-1 in OT. So the fact that they went to OT 3 times means it was probably closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought, well, it's not so much that I thought that Florida was like a massively better team. I just thought that the series would go quicker. But I think in my predictions, I said equally it could be as even as can be because really the teams are very even. But yeah, so my prediction was right. So Florida won. I think I called it in. I think I said 5 or 6 games, but I can't remember for sure. Something like that. You could go back if you want to, if you were interested in seeing. So, yeah, kind of as expected. Florida's a lot more healthy this off season, as far as we can tell, because nobody's sitting out. So, um, yeah, so Florida looks really good, a really good chance to win the cup. I think that's what held them back last final. I think they could have, maybe would have won last year had they been fully healthy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next, but yeah, that's kind of how it went there. Again, not much more to say. If you want to see what happened each game, go watch the highlights. You can read the commentary and stuff. So not really much to say. Because, yeah, so many people do that, and there's no point in me doing it. Yeah, next up, so we have the Western Conference Final, so Dallas against Edmonton. Edmonton won 4 games to 2. That one I'm pretty certain I predicted 6 or 7 games and went to 6. Mind you, I predicted the reverse result, so I thought Dallas was going to win. And yet, I mean, it's not. I was going to say it was close. I mean, it obviously was close, but double OT, Edmonton wins game 1, 3-1. I mean, it's kind of close. All it is basically like an empty net, or not necessarily that it was. I can't remember, but yeah, 2-goal difference is not that much. 5-2, Edmonton, Dallas. That's where I guess it's a bit more of a gap. Mind you, I mean, you could have multiple empty net goals, so because it's more likely to happen in the playoffs that you're going to have empty net goals, because even if you're down by 2, sometimes even 3, you're going to pull your goalie to give yourselves a shot, because there's no point in just giving up on the game, right? So, yeah. So close series, exactly kind of as I expected in terms of how close it was. Maybe Edmonton. Well, I mean, the fact that Edmonton won the series, they did better than I thought they would. Dallas was up 2-1 too, eh? Yeah, so I wonder how many. That's a good question. So I'm interested to know how many points the Stars put up, because, like, as in the Stars of the Edmonton Oilers. So this isn't going to tell me, is it? I want box score. Did it have that as an option? No. Okay, I guess I can't do that then. Is there another way? Oh, sweet. Okay, never mind. So it does, at least shows us the scores. So Draisaitl, McDavid. Nobody. McDavid. Hyman, man, he's got a lot of goals this off season. Draisaitl. So it's kind of split, a lot of the goals. Nugent Hopkins. McDavid, Hyman. So I was going to say maybe it's the Stars that, but I don't know how many assists they got, because that's not telling me. So I don't know. Because I was going to say maybe it's that the top players on Edmonton just produced so much, but they didn't, at least in terms of goals. Once we take a look at like player stats, we'll, I guess, take a look at Draisaitl and McDavid, but at least from goals, they didn't produce anything too crazy. So anyways, so that's kind of it. Again, there's not much more that I can add than what the analysts and highlights are going to show you. So, but yeah, I got that prediction wrong. All right, now moving over to the news. So the LA Kings removed the interim coach tag from Hillier. So it's saying here that both defense and power play improved with Hillier as the coach. So points percentage went up. Goals for per game went down. Goals against per game went down too, at a greater rate. So their differential increased, which makes sense why their point percentage would increase. Power play, penalty kill went down. So so it's like it's saying that those things got better, but yeah, other things got worse. So I mean, yes, like, the most important thing is points percentage, but still, it's like, I don't know. Let's see if we can find, because I don't know if he's coached any more than that. No, he was assistant everywhere else. So that's his track record, which, I mean, it's too small of a sample size. In the WHL, he was probably 500-ish, it looks like. Some good seasons, some bad seasons. Basically, the good kind of balance out the bad, it looks like. So, not that great. Did great in the BCHL, but, I mean, that's a lower level. So, I don't know. Of course, okay, so my opinion is always give a new person a shot. So, it at least is in that direction. Um, Whether it's the right call or not, it's hard to say. He's 55. Like, I guess it's more along the lines like if you would see like some 25-year-old coach or a 30-year-old coach or something like that. So it really is just essentially a known commodity. It's an assistant coach for 10 years who they bring in as head coach. So it's again status quo. Don't really like any status quo decisions. So not much more to say than I did there. So Tocchet earns Jack Adams as coach of the year. Not surprising because that team was not supposed to do that well, in my opinion. Good for him. He kind of deserves it. Did it say here who else was included? Bonus. And Brunette. Yeah, I guess, I mean, I would say it's just because of how extreme the difference from expectation was. So, yeah, for me, it was clear that Tocchet should have won, and he did, so. I don't think they're going to be able to do this next season. Maybe they could make the playoffs. Almost any team can make the playoffs from one year to the next. But, yeah, they're not going to be at the top. If they are, I mean, I would be very surprised. But, I mean, I guess it's possible. But, yeah. Anyways. Devils hire Keefe as new head coach. So this is something I wanted to take a look at a bit more. I want to see their team. So my argument before having looked at everything is that Keefe is not going to be able to turn this team into a competitor because the team's not good enough. So hence why I'm pulling up the roster. So we've got Meyer, Hughes, Bratt, Heischer, Palat, and that's basically it for forwards. Then defense. Yeah. Jake Allen's... If you combine Jake Allen with somebody who's decent enough, like that's going to be a good goalie tandem. I think, I mean, mind you, the one thing, playing with a bad team for so long, I wonder if that's going to kind of stick with him. Where, like, he's not going to play as well. You learn bad habits or you lose confidence, stuff like that. So, but anyways. Yeah, in my opinion, the team's not good enough where Keefe is going to be able to... Okay, so I should take a step back. So what Keefe should have done, he should have went to a good team where he can essentially help them become Stanley Cup winners. And I think he's a good enough coach Um, I mean, you don't really know till you see him with another team because Toronto had some decent teams. Maybe he got, I don't know if you can say he got more or less out of them than he should have, but yeah, it's tough to say. But anyways, his track record's very good. I just think he should have went to a better team, and he was a free agent coach, so he could have went wherever he wanted to. And I mean, New Jersey, I just don't. It's not a good enough team for how good at least his track record is in terms of winning. And I can't recall who needs a coach or who needed a coach. I don't know how he would have done in Winnipeg. He could have went there, but Winnipeg, I mean, they're a good team. I don't think they're quite top of the league good. And then maybe the top of the league ones didn't need coaches. I can't remember who needed coaches, but maybe Winnipeg would have. I think Winnipeg would have been a better option unless New Jersey picks up players in the offseason, which of course can always happen. I don't know. Again, it's kind of tough because I can't recall who needed a coach. Yeah, and I mean, because I think Buffalo was one of them. Utah's not going to be a good team. I mean, really, where else could he have went except Winnipeg? Yeah, so I guess I would argue Winnipeg would have been a better decision, but I don't think any other team that was good had a coaching vacancy. St. Louis, what did they do again? I think they promoted Bannister. Like, I took away his interim. I think we went over that last stream. Pittsburgh. What was Pittsburgh's situation? Not Ottawa. I definitely wouldn't have done Ottawa. But yeah, they still have Sullivan. They didn't get rid of him yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they turn out doing that soon. Edmonton, you can't now because now they're in the final with their replacement. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I would have argued either sit the season out or go to Winnipeg. Because I think Winnipeg would have been a better option than New Jersey. But anyways, so New Jersey's lucky. I mean, I guess they're hoping to pull in some extra players to make them more competitive. But I think in the season that they went into the playoffs most recently, I don't think they were really that great. They did better than they should have. So I don't know. I just don't think it's the right match, but maybe they have plans and maybe they'll pull something off to make it work. Because if they add a couple decent players, then they'll be a good team, I think. But anyways, we'll see what happens. So GM of the year, Allvin, Nill, and Zito. Yeah, I think Dallas did very good at their additions. Florida. Did they add anybody in Florida? I mean, I don't get why Allvin would get GM of the year. Like, he didn't do anything with the team. The team just did better. Let's go back and have a quick look. Vancouver. Dallas. And what was the other one? Florida. So Florida brought in. Oh, they have Tarasenko? I completely forgot about that. How is he doing? He was nearly a point per game in the regular season, doing decent in the playoffs. Wow. I mean, decent. Not that good, but for him at least. Oh, Pozo. Yeah, I guess they rounded out their roster better. Ekman Larson for depth. Kulikov. How's he doing? Because, I mean, previously he was a great defense. He did great this season. Kulikov did okay. Yeah, I guess maybe I was mistaken. I guess Florida did more than I remembered them doing. So I guess he's deserving. Vancouver, I don't recall any. Elias Lindholm. Hronik was a smart pickup, though. That I know for sure. But that was basically it. To Smith, maybe? Yeah, and Hronik did as I would have expected. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I just don't think he did as good as the other two. Because Dallas pulled in a bunch of good players, as long as I'm not remembering wrong. Oh, not. I was looking at their non-roster players. Why am I remembering wrong? Duchesne they pulled in. Smith. Yeah, maybe they didn't bring in that much. So really, it is Florida. Yeah, because I mean, okay, because you have to consider performance with the moves. Okay, sorry, my camera disconnected for whatever reason. I had to fix that. That's weird. Um, well, at least the stream didn't stop. Yeah. So, anyways, what I was saying was, yeah, it's. I guess when you're evaluating a GM, you have to contrast performance versus the moves they made, and I don't know. I would argue the combination of performance and moves that were made would be clearly Florida, just from the volume and quality of the moves. I don't know. But I guess, that's debatable, so who knows what's going to happen. Next up, trade took place. Usually I would talk about it later, but I might as well just get it out of the way. So Chicago gets 18th and 50th pick in exchange for 20th, 54th, and 61st. So they just wanted to move up a couple spots in both cases. I like that move for the Islanders. I mean, unless you have like a very specific player in there that you think is like going to sneak in and that you can get and nobody else is going to notice. Who knows? But yeah. Draft picks are just essentially lottery tickets. So in my opinion, more lottery tickets is better than less. So I'd say Islanders win that trade. But again, if you have a specific plan and maybe it'll work, Chicago could be better off. All right, so Carolina, Waddell resigns as GM, and Tulsky is interim replacement. Who is Tulsky? Oh, so they're going to look for a permanent GM. So, yeah, not much more to say than that. And then didn't Waddell go with somebody else? So he went over to Columbus. Okay. Maybe I didn't include that piece of news in my list. I'll have to go and double check. It'd be weird if I missed it. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, so he went over to Columbus, I guess. I did see that right. I didn't misread, did I? And is currently the president of hockey operations and general manager of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Anyways, so I think that's going to be good for Columbus. They've had, in my opinion, a brutal GM for the past while. So good on Columbus. I guess maybe Carolina wants it. I don't know. I don't know why that would have happened. Maybe they wanted to change or it's he wanted to change to go to something new and to have to build something. I don't know. Kind of weird, but especially since Carolina was so good. I'd rather stay with an organization I built and keep trying to win. I don't know. So maybe it was like a mutual parting that's, published as a resignation. I don't know. But anyways, long story short, good thing for Columbus. And just I wonder what's going to happen with Carolina. They're going to need somebody because they got a really good roster. You don't want to screw that up. Next thing, so Bonus retired and the Jets promoted Arniel to head coach. I don't think he has. I think he might have done some brief coaching as like an interim coach. So missed the playoffs twice, had a bad record with Columbus. Did great in the AHL with Manitoba. Otherwise has been an associate or assistant coach. So, I mean, they know him. And I guess they have confidence in him. We'll see what happens. Not much more to say than that. But I like the idea of trying somebody new, so it's not a bad idea. Okay, so next we have Mike Yeo and the Canucks part ways. And then I believe later Mike Yeo went somewhere else. So anyways, that's the assistant coach. So I'm not going to talk more about things than just stating the facts. So we'll leave that. Anders Lee won the King Clancy Memorial Trophy. That's for leadership qualities on and off the ice. Didn't Trubo win something like that? Leadership award. What's the difference? I don't know. Anyways, good for him. Not much more to say than that. This one I mean, I don't really care that much, but I was happy that he won it over Austin Matthews and Elias Pettersson. Because as a defenseman, to have as few penalty minutes as he had, what was it? 4 minor penalties. Like, it's just unreal for a defenseman of his caliber not to get more penalties. Unreal. So, yeah, he totally deserved that. So I'm glad he got it. Stanley Cup Final schedule was announced. So this is all in chronological order. I'm going to actually move that down the list. We'll deal with that later. So this is where Mike Yeo went. So Baumgartner and Yeo are going to be assistant coaches under Travis Green. I don't mind the assistant coach decisions. I don't like the head coach. Again, I mean, you never know how people are going to do in the new scenario, but Ottawa seems to be shooting themselves in the foot. So maybe it's a stronger coaching staff now than it would have been otherwise if they went with other people, but I don't know. Anyways, don't have much faith in Ottawa, but maybe there's a little bit more faith with these new coaches, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so Utah has 34,000 season ticket deposits. Good for them. Oh, there was something about seating that I saw. Here it is. Okay, so this is their seating thing, and so as you'll notice, some other people commented there's a boatload of club seats that are all along the ice, which is gonna, and somebody said, and I'm kind of stealing their point, but it's perfectly accurate. It's gonna kill the atmosphere, I think, of the rink, because but then again, the same people that would afford club seats would be the type that would afford lower bowl seats. But anyways, I feel like it's going to, or at least it theoretically could kill the atmosphere. Because like club seats, I wouldn't be surprised if people come and go and those are empty half the time. And this is what I mean. I didn't know this was the case in Utah, but I figured there'd be better decisions, and then they decide to go with Utah. I just don't get it. Maybe it's a temporary fit. Maybe they're going to relocate again once another rink is ready or something. I don't know. Maybe they're going to wait here and then go back to Phoenix. I don't know. It's just like, or Arizona, I guess. God, it's brutal. So that's one, but that even worse, there's a partial ice view for like half of the upper bowl seats. And even like the middle seats there, just brutal. What are they doing? Maybe they're gonna fix it and then everything's gonna be better. But that's not a good start. Maybe it's better than the Arizona scenario, and that's all it is. I don't know, because like you're getting no sales in that Mullet Arena, so I don't know. It just does not feel like it was necessarily the right call. Maybe it's just, like I said, a temporary fix. And then in which case that would make sense but there was probably better alternatives. Maybe they couldn't have negotiated a better deal with the alternatives. So there's so much information we don't know to know why they would have done this and if it was or wasn't the best decision. So I won't say more than that, but like it just doesn't feel right. But anyways. Next up, Leafs hire Lambert, I don't know how it's pronounced, as assistant coach under Berube. I already like that mix. So I think that's really going to help the Leafs. I think the coaching decision is right. Problem is, I don't know if the roster matches with the coaching, and I don't know if the management is going to help put together a roster that's going to match the coaching, or a roster that's good to begin with. So I think it's okay. It's just what's going to happen otherwise, who knows. 6 final team names were reported for Utah, and I think what was it? One of the ones that I liked is there. Utah Blizzard, I think, is maybe one of the ones. I can't remember for sure what I said. Utah Ice, I think, is another one I liked. Utah Blizzard, I think, would be cool. Hockey Club, no, definitely not. Mammoth, no. Outlaws, doesn't make sense to me, because I don't feel like Utah is a place of outlaws. Venom, no. Yeti, I really don't like. So I hope it's the Blizzard, but of course, we'll see what happens. And it's their call, whatever they want to do. It's their organization. If you want an ugly name, then go for it. All right, so that's it for news. Well, generally speaking, then we have fines and suspensions. So the only one, I guess, for this round was Trouba. He was fined $5,000 for, what did he do? Elbowing Rodriguez. Oh, they have Rodriguez too. That's a good pickup in Florida. Yeah, Florida deserves the GM award. So anyways, that's about it. If you want to see the hit and all that stuff, you can look it up. It doesn't appear that there's any injuries with the 2 teams in the final, which is kind of crazy. So, of course, there's going to be like bumps and bruises and potentially even big injuries. But if they're playable, I mean, hey, no excuses, maybe. Yeah, mind you, I mean, Tocchet played with like a broken sternum or something crazy. Last season, I mean. Otherwise, nothing really happened in waivers. Signings, nothing of any great significance. So nothing really to speak of there. There was... Oh, that other trade took place on the previous... I covered it on the previous stream, so nothing to say there either. Scores from the previous round, they were all close, so there's nothing to comment on. 5-4 game, that's pretty high scoring. Rangers, Panthers. That's about it. Now, this is something I was interested in looking at. I got Draisaitl and McDavid. I should make this slightly bigger. There we go. So first I'll show just the leaders in points, as you see there. McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard is right up there with Draisaitl, which is pretty crazy for a defenseman. Yeah, so I mean, clearly, offensively, Edmonton's got a lot going on. Goals, Hyman, Draisaitl. Nichushkin's still up there, and he hasn't played for a round. That's crazy. Yeah, and then goals against average I don't really care about. Save percentage, Bobrovsky 908. Pickard 915. That's really it. So I mean, it's not going to be goaltending. I think that's going to be the big thing in the final. I mean, unless Bobrovsky goes and like steals it or something. Well, I mean, Skinner could do. You never know what's going to happen. Oh, I just saw Moose tuning in, left a comment. Hello, thanks for tuning in. Yeah. So I think it's going to be clearly it's probably going to be scoring based, but you never know. I mean, things can turn pretty defensive pretty quick. All right, so I wanted to know, how has Draisaitl a point in 3 of 5 games? I don't know what happened going back one more game to this first game of the 6-game series, but it's not. Yeah, well, okay, so McDavid really produced though, so that's where I didn't see the assist before. He's got what in these 5 games? 2 goals, 6 assists. 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points in 5 games. I mean, for the playoffs, that's pretty stellar. So yeah, I guess it's not really that their top players have been driving it. I think it's actually that it's been pretty well distributed, like you saw with Nugent Hopkins and Bouchard and Hyman. So I think they're more well-rounded this time around versus previous playoffs. So I think that's a big reason why they're in the final this season. So, anyways, so that's that. So now we'll go back to where I was saying about the schedule. So all games are at 6 p.m. Eastern, starting on the 8th. They have a couple 3-day breaks, a few 3-day breaks, depending on how long it goes. Yeah, I think it's going to be a heck of a series to watch. So that's the schedule there. And then that's it for all the news. Now it comes to my predictions. So we already know that. I'll move this over more. We already know that my final prediction. So this is from the start of the playoffs. My final prediction is wrong. Hurricanes were out, not after last round, but the round before, and then the Stars just got eliminated. So, very obviously, since I had the Panthers to be in the conference final and the Oilers to be in the conference final, I didn't think poorly of them. It's just that they didn't. I thought it would be different teams. So, and then between the two, Oilers and Panthers, I mean, it really is a tough call. You know what? In this case, I actually think I'm going to take a look at team stats. Teams, I want regular season. All right, so let's see here. So let's first take a look at goals for per game. So Edmonton is up near the top, 3.56 versus Florida, 3.23. Goals against, 2.88 for the Oilers, and then 2.41 for the Panthers. So what's the differential there? So that is 2.82 for the Panthers, and then what is that? 8.68 for the Oilers. So at least from a differential standpoint, Panthers should be better. I think the stability of the goaltending in Florida's gonna probably play a factor. Sometimes just if you can score a lot, you can win games. So from my strategy, if I was to be a GM, which I apply in franchise mode in the streams that I do for that, I always prioritize offense, because if things get tight and you have a higher offensive capability, you have more wiggle room of where you can get shut down and still do well. So like, for example, if you've got, so in my franchise mode, I think the lines I'm going to turn out having in the new series. So I just did an expansion draft and then a whole bunch of off-season trades to put together my roster. So you think about my roster right now, I have on line 1, I mean, this is just an estimate, I would have Gaudreau, Connor, and so Gaudreau at the time was with the Flames and now in Columbus. Connor with Winnipeg, and Lindholm with Calgary. You combine those three on the first line. Second line would be who do I have? I have Gensel from Pittsburgh. Excuse me. Forsberg from Nashville. And who else do I have? Gensel, Forsberg. Who's the other centerman? I can't remember. Anyways, it was another high-end defenseman. Let's go find it. Oh, wait, wrong stream. This one. Who's the other center? I don't think I have Bergeron playing on the second line, do I? I mean, this is kind of getting away from the point I'm trying to make, but come on, hurry up. Where is it? Maybe it is Bergeron that I have on the second line. It doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah, and then I have Bergeron, Hintz, Perron. I have a whole bunch of guys, and like, so the thing is if you get shut down on line 1, you got line 2, line 3, and even line 4. I have like Bunting. Who is it? Bunting, Perron, and Hartman on like my fourth line, which is just ridiculous. Then I mean, our defense are good and our goalies are good enough. So all I'm getting at is if you have a lot of offensive depth, then you got way more wiggle room. So I think in terms of like number of players, it's Florida, but high end production is Edmonton. But if the quantity of players in Edmonton is so few that if they get shut down, then they're in trouble. So it's kind of difficult to know. So if the star players can really produce, Edmonton's got a great shot at winning. If Florida has good distribution of points or productivity, then Florida can win. Florida has better goaltending, or at least more stable goaltending, probably. But a series can be completely different. A goalie can steal a series, steal a playoffs. Like, I mean, it's so hard to know. Power play, Edmonton is 26.3%. Florida is 23.5%. So they're, within range of each other. Penalty kill, Edmonton 79.5%. Florida 82.5%. So clearly one team's more offensive and one's at least more capable defensively. In my opinion, so I guess giving my prediction, I'm going to put Florida as the winner. I think it's going to be close, and I think Edmonton could easily win it. It's the same as what I thought with Dallas Edmonton. It's kind of a coin flip. It's not easy to decide who's going to win. So yeah, but so if I have to choose, it's going to be, well, obviously if I'm going to make a prediction, I'm going to have to choose, and I'm going to choose Florida. And then I mean, it could go any number of games. I don't think Florida's going to sweep or have a short series win. So it's probably going to be 6 or 7 games. Probably super close. There could be games where it's like crazy lopsided where Edmonton wins like 8-1 or something stupid. But then other games it's going to be like OT, Florida wins, or 5-3, Florida wins. So that's what I'm going to do. In terms of my prediction, I'm going to predict Florida to win. And then that would be their first Stanley Cup, I believe. So that would be pretty cool. So I think that's it then. Nothing else to say. And we will leave it there. So if you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. The channel homepage has upcoming streams on regular NHL content. Nothing posted at the moment, but will be posted, so that's going to be recapping after the Stanley Cup Final. Otherwise, franchise mode runs Mondays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern approximately for about 8 hours. And so as I spoke of and have mentioned previously, I have an expansion franchise, the Houston Aces, and we just did the expansion draft, the bulk of the offseason where I basically completely changed the roster. And yeah, we're just finishing up the offseason, and then so next stream we're going to finish the offseason, get prepped for the next season, probably get a start to the next season, then that's going to be about it for the next one. Yeah, and then be a pros whenever I have time or feel like it. I haven't had any time. Don't know if I felt like it. I really like playing franchise mode, so that takes a priority. So sorry if you like the Be a Pro, but I'll play that eventually. Any comments, leave them in the comments. Suggestions likewise. Thanks again to Moose11 for tuning in, and that's it. We'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.